Let's take a look at how JavaScript can call .NET code through Silverlight. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is just a plain project. We've got a website project and we've got a Silverlight project down here. Let's add a class into our Silverlight project. So we'll add a new class. We'll call this myScriptableObject.c#, and we're going to say that this class is scriptable. So just bring that in. And we're going to put a member on this class as well. Let's say public, let's make this very simple, int add. We'll have int x, int y, and we'll return x plus y. And we're also going to say that this is a scriptable member. So this type can be used from JavaScript, and furthermore this method can be used from JavaScript. Let's save that. Let's now go to where our page is first instantiated. So let's go to the code for our page, not put any UI on our page at this point. And let's say where this is loaded, let's say onloaded. We'll just shorten that down so there's less stuff on the screen. And so here we are loaded. What we're going to do is create myScriptableObject. Let's call this instance equals a new one of those. So what we're going to do is take this particular instance and register it with the JavaScript runtime so that it can call it. So we'll use the class HTML page.registerScriptableObject. We'll give it a key for scripting. Let's call this myObject, and we pass the instance, which is this instance here. Okay, so we've registered that with JavaScript, and now what we should be able to do is go and switch over to JavaScript. So let's go and visit the test page that we've got here. It's just an ASPX page, and on this ASPX page, in addition to, well, at the moment we've got a Silverlight control which is taking all of our height, so let's just give that 50%. And after that, let's go and have an input. We'll say type equals button. We'll say value equals click me, and we'll say on click equals on click. Okay. And then let's go and add some script up here that deals with that. So we'll say script is JavaScript. Oops, looks like we managed to. Oh no, there we go. That's fine. We'll have a function. We'll call it on click. And so here we are in the click handler for this thing. Notice that our Silverlight control is ultimately generating something called XAML1. So what we can do is get hold of that control at runtime. So let's say here control equals get get XAML1. Let's say the content of that control is going to be control.content, and let's say that my registered object from .NET, let's call this netObject, equals content.myObject. If you remember, that was the name that we gave over here when we registered it, so we can reach in and get hold of that thing. And then we could say result equals myObject.add, let's say 100 and 400, and then let's just do an alert of result and see where that gets us. Let's go press F5. Let's click on click me. Ooh, looks like we broke it. That should have been netObject, not myObject. The perils of JavaScript. Let's call this netObject. Let's try again. Let's click on click me. And you can see that we got the value 500, and we got it by calling into .NET, asking it to do something for us. So we can quite easily call .NET code if we expose it from JavaScript using Silverlight. Now what if we wanted to make this a little bit more complicated? Let's pop back into myScriptableObject here. Imagine that instead of taking two integers like this, this function took a structured type. So let's create a new type. We'll have a public class. We'll call it operand. And on that we'll have a property we'll call 1x, and we'll call the other one y. Oops, let's call that y. And we'll make this scriptable. So this is a scriptable type, and these are scriptable members. Okay. And we'll make this function here take an operand, we'll call it op, and we'll make it return a result. So we'll say scriptable type, once again, public class, we'll call this result. And this is a little bit of overkill, but we'll just say value in there, something like that, and once again we'll make that a scriptable member. So now what we've got is something that returns result type and takes an operand type, and what it's going to have to do is say return new result, and all we'll do on that is set the value to be operand of x plus operand of y. So that's pretty simple. But now we've made it so it's more difficult to script from JavaScript, because in order to call this you need to instantiate one of these operands. So this is made really neat for us. Let's pop back to our JavaScript, and here we are getting the control, getting the control's content, getting my particular object. Now we can't just pass these integers anymore, so what we need is some kind of argument which is a complex type. It's one of those operands we just talked about. What we can do is ask the net object to create a managed object for us, because it's one of the parameter types here, operand. So because that thing is a parameter to one of those methods we just looked at, we can just use this create managed object method for us. Then we can say argument.x equals, let's say, 900, argument.y equals, let's say, 100, and then we can add and we can pass that argument, so it's a sort of strong structured type at this point, and then result is going to come back and it has a value property. So let's go press F5. Let's click on this thing, and we can see we get the control, we get the content in it, we ask for the .NET object, we ask it to create an operand, we set 900, 100, we add them together, we get a result on the screen of 1000. So we can't just pass simple types across, we're also being able to marshal between the JavaScript world and the .NET world, and we're passing complicated objects in and we're getting more complicated objects back. So very rich interoperability between JavaScript and .NET, and here we're just calling .NET from JavaScript. We'll also look later on at calling JavaScript from .NET, and we'll also look in another video at how we can fire events between .NET and JavaScript and vice versa.